He chose Isaac, the spiritual, the work of God, to say, through you will come the salvation to restore mankind into the image of God. He then chose Jacob. Through you will come, and then through you will have the child, Judah, and through Judah, David, and David all the way to Jesus. So as we're looking on this, we talked about how God's sovereignty does not negate human responsibility, and human responsibility does not negate God's sovereignty. We talked about this. This was a divine paradox. That's what we stated last week. In a nutshell, it took us an hour to do that, but in a nutshell, that's what it is here. But there are two roles in man's salvation. And what we see is this, that God says his role is primary and necessary. In other words, think about this. If it wasn't for God's intervention in any state or form, could mankind ever come to salvation? There's no way. See, God initiated, I got a plan. Now remember, we talked about his plan was not a reaction to sin. His plan was an eternal plan from before time began, before everything. He said, I have a plan to restore man. So understand that God was sovereignly taking the first step. And if it wasn't for God beginning to execute his plan, to reveal Christ, that God is primary and his role is, is where I'm going to take the first step. Now, the human role is this. Although God's role is primary, he's chosen it from the beginning, the human role is necessary. You have to understand that we as people, we need to respond to what God has given us as far as the data, the information. And so as we're looking at this, we can think of it this way. There is a difference in origin. That one originates with God, one with man. And so as we look to this, God is the one who initiates, and then man is the one who has to respond. So both roles, there's two separate origins. God has one plan, man has another. And so keep in mind, although they're different in origin, they have the same outcome in operation. God says, I'm going to give you the gift of faith. You receive it. You act on that gift of faith. You act on the knowledge, and that brings what? Salvation. So do you understand that what happens? Two origins and one operation. And so keep in mind that they are compatible. They're not confrontational. So we sometimes think that they're in competition, and they're not. They're in cooperation.